Hello everyone, my name is Griffin and we are back with another reaction video. We are reacting to another video from Brett Cooper. This one is called, Would You Rather Be Skinny or Fat? So let's see what this video is about.
Welcome back to the comments section. I'm Brett Cooper. I'm excited. I have not done a reaction video in a while, but Jubilee put out a new one last month, so I am stoked to respond to it. I think we all know that the body positivity movement has absolutely gotten out of hand, and now it is
The body positivity movement. Ah, such a wonderful movement to make fun of. Because here's the thing. Body positivity should be for the people who have been born with or have no control over what has happened to their body or stuff like that. You know, missing an arm, some sort of disfigurement, burns, you know, stuff like that. What it should not be about is your ass being too lazy to lose weight. It should not be for the fat people out there who are trying to take the easy way out and try to tell society that they should accept them for being fat because they're too lazy to lose weight. Fuck those people. They don't belong in body positivity.
completely conflicting with science. In fact, it is convincing doctors to change their tune about being obese and the obesity crisis. And so we have a video that touches on that today. Before we get into it, though, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to this channel if you've not already, and ring that notification bell so that you never miss a comment section or off the clock episode. All right, so this is one of Jubilee's middle ground episodes, and I genuinely love when Jubilee does these because even though I think we all know the bias that they come from when they're producing these and editing these,
disregard that, Frank. It's a bunch of liberal bullshit.
it seems like people genuinely have interesting conversations. You know, good discourse is had. They're usually laughing by the end of it, hopefully, fingers crossed. And so I do really like these videos, but this one is...
I genuinely do appreciate when there are two different groups that have different ways of thinking. They come together and they have a civil adult discussion, and they throw ideas out, they discuss them. Some may disagree, some may agree, but there's no fighting or arguing. There's just actual debate and discussion that of the intellectual and logical level, and people are just able to have civil debates. That's what I like. It's really dumb when they turn into these shouting matches or these ways of talking down to people like you are superior to them or whatever stupid thing. So let's see if these people can have a genuine discussion, or if these people just go, no, 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 you're wrong, I'm right, blah, blah, blah. Let's see.
Called, Is Being Fat a Choice? Let's get into it.
Yes. No matter what, yes, it is. It is a choice. The thing is, people don't like to take the road that is the most difficult. That is the most difficult path. The path with the most resistance. People don't like that. We like to take the path of least resistance. That is the best thing. That is the easiest thing to do. It is the easy way out. It is not easy to lose weight and keep the motivation to consistently do it, lose the weight, and keep it off. It's not easy. It never will be. But people need to take that road if they want to stay healthy and live a longer life and, you know, live a life without joint pain, diseases, and stuff that obesity helps create. And then there are these people out there who are fat, obese, morbidly obese, or just a fucking Jabba the Hutt or whale. They want society to accept them and to pander to them and to adjust everything for them instead of them themselves making the decision to better themselves and to lose the weight so they can, you know, do the things that they want to do.
Being fat or skinny is a choice.
See, for me personally, I wouldn't want to be fat or skinny because they both come with their own problems. I would want to be fit, you know, a healthy weight and have some muscle on my body and look a bit toned. I don't want to be skinny. I don't want to be fat. I want to be fit. I want to be a healthy, fit size. That's what everyone should strive to do. They should strive to not be skinny and not be fat, but be fit and healthy. It's not easy, like I said, it's not an easy path to go down, but it is the one we should all take.
Of course, not every factor is purely choice. I don't think that every factor is, but I do think a majority of it is. And in most cases, for most people, being skinny or being fat is about willpower. It's about the environment you grow up in, sure, but who you choose to associate with, what sort of things you choose to listen to, who you choose to.
Oh, we're starting off with an absolute banger today. This is great. Basically, everything he's saying is just personal responsibility. But the fact, I love this, that he brought in who you surround yourself with, that's so important. Like, even when you're just talking about your weight, because that goes back to your lifestyle choices, the way that you eat, what you do when you're socializing with friends. Are you going outside? Are you going on walks? Are you meeting up at the gym? Or are you staying inside, eating potato chips, playing video games for hours on end? All of those factors are considered. So good, dude. Good job, Dominic. I think that's his name.
All of those things are choices that you can make that will lead you closer towards being one or the other.
For me, it's calories in, calories out. Go to the gym, you'll get buff. Don't go to the gym, you won't get buff.
That is the other thing. What the bigger guy here says is completely true. It's all about personal responsibility and the choices you make throughout your life that will depend on what happens to you. The things you eat when you go out to hang out with friends, the things you do in your own personal life when you're by yourself, it's all about personal choice. And what she says is also true. It's all about calories in, calories out. If you want to gain weight, you need to eat more. You need to eat more than the energy you put out every day. If you do that, you will end up gaining weight. Depending on how much you eat, you will either gain weight slowly or very quickly. If you eat the same amount as the energy you put out, you will maintain your weight. Now, if you eat less than the amount of energy you put out every day, you will lose weight. Now, depending on how much less you eat than the energy you put out, you will either lose weight very slowly or lose weight very quickly. Now, if you're a bigger person like this guy or like me, the best thing you can do is lose weight slowly. The best thing, I think it was 2 to 4 pounds a month or something like that, because it also gives your body time to acclimate to what's happening. If you lose weight too quickly, that's how you get extra skin or very flabby skin. For big guys like me and like him, if we lose weight too quickly, we don't give our body enough time to keep up with how much weight we're losing, and we'll end up getting flabby or extra skin.
I understand that there's genetics that could cause you to want to eat more, but even with the genetics that cause you to want to eat more, the same solution is calories in, calories out.
And all of that goes back to, again, choices. And like you said, willpower and sacrifices. And yes, there are people that have certain conditions that make them more, predisposed to being overweight or being very, very skinny. And I keep those people, in completely separate categories because those are medical things. But these days, a lot of people say, oh, I can't lose weight. I know I'm predisposed. And you might not be.
Yeah, the thing is, no matter what, there are medical reasons as to why there are very few people who have a much harder time gaining or losing weight. That is not to be left out. There are medical reasons to why there are some people who have a harder time or can't even lose or gain weight. But those are very few and far between. There are a lot more people who make the excuse that they have a medical reason as to why they are gaining weight or why they can't lose weight without them actually going to the doctor to find out if they actually have these medical reasons. Or those who actually did go to the doctors and they were told that they didn't have any of these, but they just didn't believe the facts that were put in front of them, and they still believe they do. And then they're just making excuses for themselves for being fat or being severely underweight or skinny.
You might just be making that up in your head. Like, everybody is self-diagnosing with everything these days, which is a whole other can of worms. But I put those people in a totally separate category from people who are making lifestyle choices and then want everybody else to adapt and change because of their lifestyle choices. Anywho.
I think the whole choice is, always determined on who they are. And it's not going to just be a thing done overnight.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of, I think it's like breaking the barrier and breaking a lot of things, not only your body, but also breaking your mental state.
Sure.
Yes. Like for me, the mental state is one of the things I have trouble with the most. The most I've gone when it came to exercising was 3 weeks straight. And then I ended up losing the motivation. One thing I know I need to work on is finding a way to keep the motivation so I can keep going. Because motivating yourself to lose weight and to exercise is a very, very big thing. Because if you have no motivation at all, you won't feel the need to do any of it. But, what did he say exactly?
And it's not going to just be a thing done.
Oh, yeah. He said it's not going to be a thing that's going to happen overnight. Losing weight is a very, very, very long process. To see any sort of progress, it could take 1 to 2 months before you start seeing a very slight change. And I think the first change that comes that people see is normally in their face. Because my face is sort of filled out because of how big I am. Now, where I would see the change first is more than likely my face. But it takes up to 6 months, I believe. I believe it's 6 to 8 months before you start to see real change in your body when you're exercising. For you to, like, if you want to lose 100 pounds, it could take well up to 1 to 3 years, depending on what you're able to do, and how dedicated you are to wanting to lose weight and get in shape. It could take years for you to see the full change of what you want to see. So you have to have a lot of patience if you want to lose weight and get in shape. It takes a lot of patience, and you need to find a way, or find ways where that would help you keep the motivation to want to keep going.
Overnight.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of, I think it's like breaking the barrier and breaking a lot of things, not only your body, but also breaking your mental state.
Sure.
And again, that depends on who you are and what you want to go through.
Disagreeers?
I felt like as a toddler, I always viewed myself as big. I grew up in a very poor home, so where my mom couldn't provide the meals that she could healthily. So when we would get free meals, even then, it would be canned food, and it would be very much food that's not as edible. It was.
That reminds me of another thing when she said their parents. For the first so many years of your childhood, you really don't have much control over what you are intaking and what you are doing when it comes to your food. So as a parent, for those parents out there, you really should watch on how much you are feeding your child and what you are feeding your child. Because if you tend to overfeed your child, you're going to get a very overweight kid. And that is not a good thing. Kids should not be overweight. I mean, there are some babies out there who look like they're a child of the Michelin Man. And that's just terrifying. There was a mother who was arrested because of how obese one of her kids got. I can't remember how old the kid was, but I believe the kid was under 10 years old. And he was breaking well over 100 pounds. And kids under 10 years old shouldn't be 100 pounds. They should be, I think, 40 to 80 pounds at most. And this kid was just he was like Jabba the Hutt Jr. And this mom just kept feeding him. And it's just, parents, you have to be careful in how much you are feeding your child. For anybody out there, you can eat whatever you want and still lose weight. You just have to learn how much you are eating. That goes the same for parents with their kids. You have to be careful how much you are feeding your kids, because you could feed them into an early grave or into an early heart attack or some sort of problem.
Food for us, yes, but then I felt like once it reached a point where I was old enough to try to make my own choices, I made all of the wrong choices. I wasn't eating.
But here's the thing. You're still talking about choices. Everybody goes through things in their childhood and in their past that has the opportunity to define who they are. That can change you for the better or for the worse. But when you become an adult, when you become a teenager, honestly, you have the opportunity to change course. to learn from those experiences, whether they were choices that you were made or circumstances that were out of your control, then it becomes your responsibility. We can't change the things that we went through as children. We can't change the mistakes of our parents. We can't change, the hand that we were dealt, but you can change how you respond to it.
I was in a sport, and that sport just worked me out so hard. And it was to the point where I just was scared to eat. I didn't like it. I would only drink water.
When you were eating grapes and lettuce, were you thin?
I was the thinnest I could be.
Were you still big though?
I was still big, but that was the skinniest I've ever been. And that's coming from somebody who was only eating somewhat salads that are just fruit and lettuce and water and maybe ice right before a practice.
That diet isn't necessarily healthy either. And you can hold on to weight because of stress, because things that are going on mentally, because of your sleep, because you're not providing your body nutritious foods. A lot of women think that they just need to eat less to lose weight. You actually need to eat more. You need to eat a lot of protein, especially if you're moving, if she's playing an extreme sport. So again, choices, maybe misguided information about how to lose weight, but I also think that's important to point out.
Do you think that right now you would not be capable of becoming a thin woman if you wanted to?
I possibly would be capable of becoming a thin woman, but since I was young, I was supposed to get blood tested probably when I was very, very young, and I never did. And they had mentioned that it could have been because of my weight and how that connects with my thyroid. I never made the connection.
This is the one thing I love. A lot of people like to make the excuse about their thyroid, and they've never gotten it checked. You can't just, when you are big, you cannot just make the excuse of, oh, it's my thyroid, so this is why I'm big. No, it's all because of your choices. No matter if you agree or disagree, it is because of the choices you make as a teenager and as an adult that led you to where you are now.
And I never had that leaning parent to be like, go and get checked out, go and do this. Your weight is probably not your fault. It was always your weight is your fault, so that's your issue.
I mean, I also struggle with, thyroid.
Once you are able to make decisions for yourself, at that point, yes, it is all your fault because you made the wrong choice.
And my own blood issues, I'm not quite sure, but I do see an endocrinologist and I go see a doctor. It's a choice to do the requisite steps. It's a choice to go grocery shopping.
Oh, this is getting testy already. Sometimes I watch these videos and I'm like, I feel the tension, and I'm not even.
I always wait for somebody to blow up in these videos. I always wait for somebody to blow up because I feel it's like she said, the tension there. You can feel the tension, like somebody's about to snap. And you're just you're waiting for it at that point.
Even in the room. But I mean, those are really, really harsh truths. I was about to stop and say, with diet, there are ways that you can address thyroid issues. Like a low carb, high fat diet, one of the things that's written a lot about keto diets, and people have, very varying thoughts about keto diets, but there's been a lot of research about, carnivore diets, the Lion diet that, the Petersons do, and keto diets about how it can help your thyroid. It can completely change your life. People who were never able to lose weight are now losing weight. They're healthier than ever. She is right. It does come down to choices.
It's a choice when you're grocery shopping.
By the way, don't ever get salads from fast food restaurants. They're about as worse as the regular food that they sell. If not, they're about as bad, if not worse. So yeah, don't. if the fast food restaurants like McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, all these places, they offer a healthy choice. It's not. It's about as bad, if not worse, than the regular choices.
Shopping to go to the outer aisles and not go into the bread section and not go into the junk food section. These are all choices.
As a disabled woman, I can't do a lot of the things that people say, calories in, calories out, oh, you gotta go work out and exert it. A lot of the things that are typical, oh, this is how you lose weight, put me in the hospital. I have to navigate weight differently. I have to look at it differently. My weight is the way it is because of medication,
And for her, I do put her in that other category that I was talking about. And so I'm glad that she's here so she can offer that. But if we're talking about the body positivity movement and how we have, changed our perception of obesity and, what is a healthy weight, what is healthy, if we're talking about all of that, she's in a totally, totally different conversation, because obviously there are people who struggle with their weight because of medication, because of, illnesses that they're going through, because of, disabilities. I completely understand that.
Yeah, there are people who have physical restrictions. they can't really do much at all because it would put them back in the hospital, like that lady said. So with people like her, there's only so much that they can do when it comes to in terms of weight loss. They may not ever be able to lose all the weight they wish to lose. They can still lose some weight, but there's only so much that they can do because they are physically restricted by their disability. So they can't exert themselves as much as a regular person can. And by the looks of it, she really can't do much because she's having a cane just to help herself walk.
So I'm glad that she's here to share her opinion, but I would just make sure that everybody knows that's kind of a separate but important conversation. And
Yes.
another part of that conversation is also, are doctors lying to you about needing that medication? Is there something you could do with your diet that is not completely reliant on the big medical industrial complex and big pharma that can help change your life? Because that is often not presented to us, sadly. But that's just the US government.
Doctors put me in this position, and I had to learn, okay, am I going to be so hateful of my own body that I am going to backlash and put myself through extreme gym nights, through keeping myself from eating things that I should be able to eat? You should be able to have a balance. You should be able to go into the junk food aisle like other skinny people.
Yes. The thing is, when it comes to junk food, you can eat whatever you want and still lose weight, like I said. But you need to be mindful of how much of this stuff that you are wanting and liking to eat that you're putting in to your body. You have to find out how much energy you're putting out a day and then either eat more than that, the same amount as that, or less than that to lose weight. For people like her, that she can't, like I said, physically can't do much. But yes, you can still eat whatever you want, be it junk food, pop, breads, pastas, all this sort of stuff. You can still eat whatever you want, but you just gotta be mindful of how much of it you are eating.
People do, and still not have to worry about gaining 20 pounds.
But I don't think skinny people go into this junk food aisle.
They
I think
certainly do.
They do.
They eat a lot of junk food.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, people, yes, they do. Everybody has balance. I think that's the point I would really disagree with her on, because even the healthiest people that I know, the skinniest people I know, they still have a brownie because there is balance. So it's not just that skinny people are avoiding junk food at all costs. It's just that they know their limit. They know that balance does exist. And for the most part, they're making very healthy choices.
There's a thing called set points. There's a ton of research on it, that your body likes to be at specific weights. It likes to be in a specific way. So if you are fighting yourself to lose weight by not eating, over exercising, and you are damn near killing yourself to be at a specific weight, your body's unhappy.
It's important to note that a choice can be harder for people to make due to conditions in their life.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it's still a choice. I could say that I had food addiction. I looked to food when I was stressed and this and that and this. And so it's harder for me to choose it than for someone who has like the perfect lifestyle who...
Oh, yeah. For me, the choices I made were horrible. They're bad choices. I tend to eat out of boredom. I get bored easily. So I tend to find something to do. And sadly, the thing I kept turning to was food. And I'm not blaming my weight. I know that's partially the reason why I'm bigger, is because I kept eating and eating and eating and eating and eating out of boredom. But that's, again, my own personal choice to do that. I could have chose not to do that and find something else to do. That was a healthier choice to do. But no, I ended up turning to food, and I ended up gaining a lot of weight because of it. So again, it was my own personal choice, and I take personal responsibility for that choice.
Someone who has parents who are giving them this and that and this, but I definitely still acknowledge that it was my choice. At the end of the day, when I go there and I look and I see, should I order a second hamburger? I'm the one choosing whether or not I order that.
This guy is so based. This is the most excellent display of personal responsibility I've ever seen. In a world that is so devoid of personal responsibility, that's very epic. This is a very interesting conversation. As we go into the new year, I urge you to consider taking a moment to reflect on your digital footprint. I mean, think about all the information on your phone. From anything that you Google and search, your location, to the websites where you to get 3 extra months free. Again, that's ExpressVPN.
I always skip the ads because I don't really care.
.com/Cooper. No prying eyes, no lies.
Can the
you will be secure.
I would rather be skinny than fat. Can the agreeers please step forward?
I think there's
Okay. Here's the thing. Being skinny and being fat, they each come with their own set of health problems. What people need to be is they should be fit and healthy. They shouldn't be skinny. They just shouldn't strive to be skinny. They shouldn't strive to be fat. People should strive to be fit and healthy. That's what people should strive to be. Being skinny comes with its own health problems, and being fat, well, being fat comes with a hell of a lot more health problems.
a lot of different struggles when it comes to being a bit bigger. And I have a sister that is she's 400 pounds and she struggles a lot. She has lymphedema and to shower is really, really hard. So I do think for like an overall happy life and like zero struggle, I think I'd rather be skinny.
I'm also really tall. I'm 6'6", so
he's a tall dude.
Wish I could just pick a single struggle because finding the clothes and things like that when you're bigger both ways can make it really hard. So if I was skinnier, at least that's one less thing I have to worry about. But also, I've got 2 kids and a wife, and I'm taking care of them. And as you pointed out, I definitely think that I'm at less health risks if I'm a skinnier person, if I'm a healthier person in that capacity.
Again, this guy's fantastic. He's acknowledging all of it. I wish him the best. If he's on some journey, if he's on his weight loss journey, if he's getting his fit on, Dominic, I'm supporting you. And also, like, that's a real man to say, like, I want to change my life for the betterment of my children and my wife so that I can be a better provider.
That is the one biggest thing people should have a strive to do, is to better themselves for their kids and their family.
That's great.
And I would much rather be that so that I could be around for my kids longer.
Can the disagreeers please step forward?
I'm speaking as someone who actually was a former smaller person, and I had the most body insecurities when I was small. I was constantly living in fear of gaining weight and having people tell me, oh, don't gain weight, don't do this, make sure that your weight is the same. And once I finally gained weight, I realized that, first off, life wasn't over. I didn't feel any need to not engage in life the previous way that I had, and the attention that I got was different. But even as a smaller person, you get negative attention. And rather than trying to control my body to avoid that negative attention, I would prefer to address the situation.
Here's the thing, with being skinny or fat, you're never going to make anyone around you happy. The thing you should work on the most is don't do what you're doing to make anybody else happy. Do what you're doing to make yourself happy. If you're happy being fat or being larger, all the power to you. Be that. Be happy. If you're happy as a skinnier person, more power to you. Be happy. Do what you want that makes you happy. That's the thing. But don't be part of this body positivity movement thing. It's just full of stupidity.
As a society, make it more
full of stupidity and full of, being a victim.
Accessible for everybody.
There's the main point. I mean, I think, first of all, if we think back to the early 2000s, the way that women were talked to about our weights, like that obviously was not healthy. There has to be balance. The fact that we cannot find a balance to strike is terrible because now we've gone in the completely opposite direction. But being 95 pounds and trying to look like every runway model in Paris Fashion Week, that's also not healthy. And like telling women that they need to have like thigh gaps. I remember being in middle school, early high school, and girls would literally like saran wrap their thighs. Like that, no, that is not healthy. And everybody is...
Yeah, don't try and be like those Paris runway models. Their physical health is not good. They are way too fucking skinny.
Especially young women. We have insecurities. That's very, very normal. But I think the difference is now the movement that is predominant is the body positivity movement that is telling women that it is better to be fat, that it is healthier to be overweight, that if you go to the gym and if you try to lose weight, then you are either like some alt-right extremist or you are fat phobic. Those are literally the messages that are presented. So I think these days it is easier to be heavier. So obviously, anyway.
We aren't feeling like I have to be a certain
In the eyes of the body positivity movement, it's easier to be fat. But it's not. As a fat man, I can tell you right now, it sucks. Don't be fat. It really sucks.
way that's normal in order to be treated like a human being and respected.
If I could counter, because I was a bit bigger when I was younger, and that's when I was the most insecure. I would look in the mirror. I did have family members that were skinny, but then
Yeah, here's the thing. Nobody is going to be fully in agreement with everyone else. Everyone has their own struggles being big or being skinny. Everyone has their own, they've experienced something different than the person next to them. Nobody is going to truly have the same experiences as everyone else. So.
And I had a family member that was much bigger, and just the way that I perceived myself, I hated it, and I even became anorexic to like not be big.
I don't think skinny always equates to being healthy.
And that's true. If we can also say that being fat a large percentage of the time, more so than being skinny, does not mean that you are healthy. And I think the problem these days is that now, because of this movement, because of this social justice movement that has just, ballooned and taken over, doctors are now pressured to say, oh, no, this is fine. You're totally fine. BMI does not matter. Body fat percentage, none of that is fine. It's all fine. I'm thinking back.
Yeah, don't ever go off the BMI. The BMI thing is just so fucking inaccurate. I know that for somebody of my height and my age, I should be anywhere between 185 and 200 pounds. I know that for a fact. But this is not off BMI. This is just how, for my height and age, what I should be at. I would like to be at somewhere around there. But don't ever go off BMI. That is the worst thing you can do because it is so inaccurate. There's so many other variables that thing just does not take into account.
To COVID era, when the experts told us that people that were overweight, that they were not more at risk. Oh no, it's totally fine. Do not go work out. Don't go outside. Don't get vitamin D. Don't take care of yourself. No, you're not more at risk. When now we know years later that being overweight was the number one comorbidity for COVID. Why would we trust these people? They are so easily manipulated. Anyway, just had to make that point. But yes, he is correct. Being skinny does not always equate to being healthy. I have some friends that are just naturally very, very skinny, who literally eat McDonald's all the time. But if we're thinking about generalizations, people that are skinnier are usually healthier and make healthier choices. Obviously, there are outliers in both situations, but in 2023, it's very different.
Skinny people have a lot less health problems and physical problems than fat people do. But yes, they're right. Being skinny does not always equate to being healthy.
Difficult to have nuance or to get that across, but it is a very complex situation because everybody's bodies are different. Everybody is making different choices. Your metabolisms are different. There's so many different factors. Anyway.
I am fairly skinny. I'm 6'5". I'm 140 pounds last time I checked, and I'm severely underweight. And I know about this on a day-to-day basis. That being said, I don't know where I'd want to lean at an appropriate weight level.
Also, for men and women, it is very, very different. A lot of men do need to gain weight, and that weight would be in muscle and eating more so that they can gain mass. My older brother, my middle brother, is also like 6'3", has always this skinny, tiny, and can eat whatever he wants and will not gain weight, but is not always healthy. But he acknowledges that. Again, it's complex because everybody's bodies are different. Shocking, men and women, their bodies are also very, very different. That's a controversial thing to say, but we are. The sexes are very different.
It's important to understand for some skinny people, we're not living a great life by any means. And sometimes I feel like that's always kind of lost in translation when they see someone who's really skinny.
I guess it depends on what you mean. When you think of the term skinny, are you thinking of just like an average weight person, or are you thinking of how you are now?
I'm the average weight for like women in America.
Yeah,
so if we're talking about an average, like I'm gonna be the closest.
No comment.
If your biggest priority is to be at a
I'm sorry. No, you're not. No, you're not. What is the average weight for American woman? Let's see. I'm gonna check here real quick. Average weight for women in U.S. 170.8 pounds is the average American woman of 20 years of age and up weighs 170.8 pounds and stands at 63.5 inches, which is about 5'4". The numbers may or may not be a surprise to you. So yeah, the average weight of the average height woman, which the average height of a woman is 5'4", or what is 5'4" in centimeters for those? .54, which is 162.56 centimeters for those across the globe. Yep. So the average height of a woman is 5'4" or 162.56 centimeters. And the average weight of the average height woman is 170.8 pounds. Or, I'm going to have to look at that in kilos for you people that are not in America. Or 77.4 kilograms. That is the average weight. She, I can probably guarantee you, is well over 200 pounds. Or well over 80, I would probably say well over 80 kilos. So, yeah, she is not the average. She is far out of the average, and it may be mean to say that, but it's true.
A smaller body, you need to reassess your priorities.
It's not a good thing. What is it? I read about this the other day, that the average clothing size for women in America, I believe it's a size 16 now. It's up from 14 a couple of years ago. It's not a good thing. Just because you are the average, that does not mean that it should be the average, or that it's a good thing, or that it is objectively healthy just because a lot of people are your size.
And the immediate tie between skinniness and health, like you emphasized, there is such a gap between, one, the research, because the research has a huge fat-phobic bias in it, and there has been research that shows that they aren't, even especially during, let's say, COVID and the correlation between obesity.
Oh God, here we go.
They rushed through those studies so fast because in society's mind, oh, of course a fat person is going to equal someone who's going to get sick faster, is going to get sick easy.
Yes, it is true. Somebody who is obese has a higher chance of getting sick, be it from a bacterium or a virus. We as bigger people are at a higher risk than those who are thinner than us. It's just how it is. People are at a higher mortality risk. This cannot be argued because it has been proven through decades of research. It has been proven we are at higher risk of getting diseases and getting sick. You cannot argue this.
It was an easy jump. So they didn't do all of the testing that they were supposed to do.
They have now. We know this now. What world were you living in? People were avoiding this conversation literally at all cost. I don't know what corner of the internet you were on, but in the corner that I was on, people were trying to talk about this and people were shutting them down so that they wouldn't offend people or scare them. It's just fascinating. Also, that it's not purely about weight. And you kind of hinted on it there, but it is about lifestyle choices, because somebody who is heavier, you can easily infer, maybe they don't take care of themselves as much, maybe they don't work out as well, as often, maybe they do not eat as healthily. It's such a hard line to walk with this conversation, because again, everybody is different. But those are the factors that make you assume that maybe they would be more predisposed to getting sick. Somebody who is on the leaner side, is more muscular, obviously takes care of themselves, takes their supplements, is concerned about their health, they are at a lesser risk.
They didn't check their bias.
So if by saying the study is biased, you're saying that the study didn't account for the variable that obesity may also take a factor into. It's just that there's so many variables in humanity that...
I mean, she's very right. So why would you listen to them? Why would you trust big food and big pharma?
If you want to talk about bias in studies, actually recently we've been doing the opposite. So for instance, a lot of our studies have been based on BMI, and so we've been showing that, fat people aren't necessarily extremely unhealthy. If we look at people with a certain BMI, However, bodybuilders also have a really high BMI, and so they get counted into that category. And so it wasn't until very recently that they equated for that mistake, and it shows, oh my goodness, being fat is actually extremely unhealthy.
The girl in the red did make an excellent point, though, that the pendulum has completely switched and, science has evolved and adapted. Your weight or how you look, like, I genuinely don't care. It is about your health and your choices. Like Dominic has been saying the whole time, it is about your choices. Somebody commented and said, telling a dangerously overweight person not to lose weight because they're beautiful is like telling an alcoholic not to stop drinking because they're fun. So,
yeah.
Harsh comparison, but a very, very good one. And this comment was really interesting and kind of ties in the whole categories, people who have, a predisposed medical condition. But she said, I'm 5'2" and I'm just over 190 pounds, so definitely obese. I used to blame it on having PCOS or a birth control implant until I actually started writing down everything I ate and estimating how many calories I was taking in, and then it all made sense. I should be eating something like 1,600 calories a day, but I rarely went under 2,000 for the days that I've been recording. I think a lot of people would be surprised if they recorded everything that they eat on an average day. And I think that that's one thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way about the woman with lupus and how she was such a stark contrast to Dominic with his base personal responsibility, because even if you do have a medical condition, that does not excuse you from personal responsibility and making healthy choices. Just because you have to take a certain medication that has been prescribed to you, just because you walk with a cane, doesn't mean that you still can't make healthy choices and that you can observe what you are eating in order to try to make your life better in some way. I felt like she was kind of like, oh, yep, well, I'm just going to be this way, and it's easier, and the world has evolved, so now they're celebrating my body size, so it's okay. It doesn't have to be that way. Anyway, I love that comment. Somebody else said, just because somebody is skinny doesn't mean that they're healthy. Parker is a prime example of this, but then again, I have never in my life, this is kind of what I was trying to convey, but I think I got a little bit nervous about it. I've never met an obese person who is objectively healthy. Yes. So I was making those generalizations about some skinny people being unhealthy, but the majority do take care of themselves. People will lie to you and say that they are, but even if that were the case, which it isn't, that's definitely the anomaly. Being underweight and overweight are both unhealthy, and you should better yourself and your eating habits if you fall under either category. Maybe that's just how we approach the situation. It's common sense. Just take care of your health and try not to start an entire social justice movement around telling people that are objectively unhealthy that they actually are healthy and beautiful and perfect, and coercing doctors into saying that, no, this is great. This is actually really good for you. Somebody else said it's a huge problem that people don't think obesity is unhealthy. It has nothing to do with being beautiful, everything to do with dying early for no reason, which is, again, I think that Dominic is incredibly impressive for being vulnerable enough to say, that is why I want to lose weight, because I want to be there for my children. I want to be a good provider. I want to be a good husband. That is incredibly brave and self-aware to say that on camera in front of millions of people. His wife is lucky. Somebody else said how this is a discussion. People sitting down with opposing views and still being able to have a civil adult discussion while not cutting each other off and really listening to all sides, even if they don't agree, is super underrated. Yes, which is why these videos are fantastic. I really love them. This obviously was a cut down version of the entire video. If you are wondering if they answered any other questions or you want to see some other perspectives, the entire video is on Jubilee. It's called Is Being Fat a Choice? We can link it below. But it was a great video. This was a great discussion. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
I think it was a good video. We got to see some viewpoints, even though some of them weren't, factually correct from the disagreeers. But I think overall it was a good video. I would like to know all of your opinions down below. If your answer of is being obese a choice, and would you rather be skinny than fat? So, like I said, I hope you all enjoyed the video. If there are any other videos you'd like to see me react to, please make sure to comment them down below or over on my Discord page. I do have a channel over on Twitch that I stream to every Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturdays at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. So come see me over there, and I'd love to see you all there. Links to everything will be in the description below. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.